Welcome back. President Trump says he will speak with Vladimir Putin this week after Ukraine agreed to a 30-day ceasefire following talks in Saudi Arabia. The U.S. says the deal will now be offered to Russia. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff headed to Moscow this week. Here's President Trump on it yesterday.
Total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on, and people are going to get killed. Lots of people. I'll talk to Vladimir Putin. Yeah, I want to get. Look, that's the other. It takes two to tango, as they say, right? So hopefully he'll also agree, and I really think that would be 75% of the way. The rest is getting it documented and, negotiating land positions, etc.
So you'll talk to him this week about the deal?
I think so, yeah.
The Trump administration also lifting the pause on sharing intelligence and aid with Ukraine. Here's National Security Advisor Michael Waltz.
The Ukrainian delegation today made something very clear, that they share President Trump's vision for peace. As a result of this positive step forward, the president has decided to lift the pause on aid and on our security assistance to Ukraine going forward. And that's effective immediately.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio adding that the minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine is still on the table and to be worked out at a later time. Joining me now is former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump and Heritage Foundation Vice President of National Security and Foreign Policy, Victoria Coates. Victoria, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Your assessment of this ceasefire that Ukraine has agreed to, will Russia go along, you think?
Well, this is a really good day, Maria. For the first time in 3 years, there's progress being made toward ending the war in Ukraine. And I think that's the critical thing. The Ukrainians have agreed to this 30-day ceasefire. That's an excellent step. And the president said he's going to speak with Vladimir Putin and get his take on it. I think this is an opportunity for Russia. I mean, they have some bad economic problems that they can't solve if they have to keep their economy on a wartime footing. So, I mean, the prospect of economic improvement is really what can be offered to Russia, that things can be better for them. So hopefully they will take that. It's a good deal for them, and we can get to the ceasefire and then on to a broader peace deal.
And then there's Israel and Hamas. President Trump told me something's going to happen soon with regard to Israel and Iran. He broke the news that he sent that letter to the Ayatollah about negotiations, and then, of course, the Ayatollah responded to the interview. Now we've got the activity at Colombia. The anti-Israel activist Mahmoud Khalil is in court today as his legal team fights his deportation. He was arrested by ICE on Saturday after the Department of Homeland Security accused him of leading campus activities aligned with Hamas. Here's the president yesterday on it.
I think we ought to get them all out of the country. They're troublemakers. They're agitators. They don't love our country. We ought to get him the hell out. I think that guy, we ought to get him. I heard his statements, too. They were plenty bad. And I think we ought to get him the hell out of the country. I watched him. I watched tapes. Specifically, I watched tapes. And you can have them, okay? You can have them. And you can have the rest of them. Let them go to school. Let them learn. Columbia used to be a good school. Now it's been overrun because of bad leadership.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reaffirming yesterday that Secretary of State Marco Rubio reserves the right to revoke green cards or visas. Meanwhile, Columbia University protesters criticized Trump's decision to pull $400 million in federal money to the school, calling it, quote, transparent scare tactic. Victoria, the president made a real message and put a stake in the ground on this. Canceling $400 million of federal funding to Columbia was a shot across the bow for universities across this country. Your reaction?
Well, as a recovering academic myself, Maria, I can tell you the one thing they care more about than parking spaces are these federal grants, because they keep coming every year and there's very little oversight. And this is $400 million for Columbia. It can be billions of taxpayer dollars that go to these Ivy League universities. And we've seen my alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania, freeze hiring, which is excellent. They should feel a chill from this.
Yeah.
And Mohammed Khalil, the one that's being deported, he's the worst of the worst. He's been doing this for over a year at Columbia. These guys sprang into action in literally the hours after the October 7th terrorist attacks to support Hamas. And so they shouldn't be here on green cards or student visas, and that is entirely within the rights of the Secretary of State to revoke that. So that's what Secretary Rubio is doing. I support it 100%. President's right. They shouldn't be here.
All of this while President Trump is also trying to expand the footprint of America. We talked about the Panama Canal, which I want to get your take on. I know you were traveling there, but let's first start on Greenland, because Greenland's center-right party won parliamentary elections yesterday. A surprise result upending years of left-wing government control. The so-called Democratique Party supports a slower path to independence from Denmark. And that echoes President Trump's proposal to take control of the island. Here's the president during the joint address to Congress last week on Greenland. Watch.
We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before.
So what do you think about this, Victoria? And then tell us about the Panama Canal. Last time we spoke, you were on your way there. I wonder what you saw, if you did go, and whether or not you expect an even bigger footprint with that. The president told me just on Sunday the U.S. will take back the Panama Canal as well. Your reaction to Greenland?
Well, Greenland is amazing. I mean, I was really surprised when I saw the election results. Everybody assumed that the island is going to just trend left and be very socialist. As you said, the Democrat Party won. It was a shockwave. And I think the president's message last Tuesday night really resonated with the people of Denmark. If you want opportunity, if you want something new, the United States will welcome you. So this is a great result, I think, for us. And actually, our trip to Panama is upcoming. So we're going to take a look at the canal, at what the Chinese presence still is. We've had BlackRock purchase a lot of the assets around the canal. So we are going to have an American company running it. That is an excellent first step. But there is more Chinese incursion around the canal in the so-called free economic zones, not so free when China controls them. And we're going to have to take a look at that as well.
And President Trump told me that after he started talking about the Panama Canal, they took down all the Chinese signs. Remember, Howard Lutnick had told us that when you go through the canal, every sign you look at, it's all in Chinese. And since President Trump has been talking about this, they've actually removed the signs in Chinese. We'll be watching that. And I'm eager to hear about your trip, Victoria. Good luck with that. Thanks for being here this morning.